Mediation as a process is something that's existed in this jurisdiction perhaps for 25 years, since its importation from America. Typically, a mediation involves the parties meeting up at a neutral venue and employing the services of a mediator who will then shuttle between them and their rooms, deploying their skills to assist the parties in resolving their dispute. Of course, since the onset of the coronavirus pandemic, face-to-face meetings such as mediations have become very difficult indeed. That said, in my view, the judicial position in relation to dispute resolution is unlikely to have changed, and parties are unlikely to garner much sympathy from judges simply by refusing to engage in mediation on account of the coronavirus pandemic. So what then is to be done about this situation? Well, a lot of mediations have now pivoted online, and there is now a process called Online Dispute Resolution, or ODR. ODR is simply a traditional mediation, but rather than the parties meeting physically, they meet online across a video conferencing platform. So what do you need to do to set up ODR and to deploy it effectively? Well, obviously one of the most important choices is that of the platform itself. It is important that the platform is stable in terms of its ability to connect to Wi-Fi, and you ought to check as well whether or not the parties engaged have good Wi-Fi connections. It needs to have good visual and audio technologies because it's important that the parties can be seen and heard at the relevant times in the mediation. And also in the context of a legal dispute where confidential matters are probably being discussed, and also in the context of the mediation itself, which is a confidential process, the platform needs to be secure. In addition, in relation to GDPR, it may be appropriate, for example, to have an encrypted platform. There are a number of platforms available, including those that have been especially designed for mediations, and so the choice of the platform is crucial. Also consider where you should locate your client. I've certainly heard of people who've attended mediations physically with their representatives and then have dialed into it online through a laptop located in a meeting room within an office. First of all, of course, it's important that that is done in compliance with the current coronavirus rules, but also for reasons that are set out later, it may be appropriate to have your client dial in also. As with any mediation, it is also crucial that an effective and helpful bundle is prepared for the mediator. It is likely that a bundle of this nature now will be stored online via a cloud, and of course it's important the bundle, as with the process, is both confidential and GDPR compliant. Within that, of course, if you are going to send confidential things to the mediator, then you must ensure that that is done in a secure way, which cannot expose that information to your opponents. So what then are the advantages of ODR? Well, first of all, it enables parties to dial in remotely and therefore not to have to travel or attend a meeting that may well be many miles away from where they are actually based. Also, of course, it can be more comfortable for clients, particularly if the client is someone who's not used to legal processes. Notwithstanding its relative informality compared to a court process or a trial, mediations can still be very intimidating for those who are not used to them. Whereas having parties dial in from the comfort of their own homes or from the relative familiarity of their own offices can put them at ease and facilitate settlement much more easily. The process is also less awkward. One of the things that I certainly have seen in mediations I've been engaged in is the awkwardness that takes place when the parties bump into each other, because of course they are located in the same building. If parties are not actually located together and are dialing in remotely, then there is no chance of that taking place and then having to deal with the awkwardness that then arises. The process is also a little bit more flexible. One of the criticisms I've heard from clients in relation to the mediation process is the amount of downtime where they're doing nothing because the mediator is perhaps with the opposing party and not with them. Of course, if you're dialing into a process, then you can be a lot more flexible in the way in which your time is deployed. So in summary, ODR is an effective process and an effective solution to the restrictions brought about by the coronavirus pandemic. Notwithstanding that though, I see that it will be a process that survives beyond the end of this pandemic and is deployed widely in the future. It has significant advantages in terms of cost and convenience over the traditional process. And also, if you are acting for commercial people, particularly those who work in international businesses who are used to transacting their business online, then it's a process that is likely to be familiar to them already anyway. So ODR is something that parties ought to actively consider when they are looking to resolve their commercial disputes.